Hey there everybody, Jandor here, bringing you another episode of Learnin the Ropes. I'm trying a slightly different format this time, since I find that sometimes as I'm in-game, attempting to explain what a hero can do while I'm playing the hero is a little bit distracting from the game itself, and the game itself distracts from what I'm trying to explain about the hero. I was going to go ahead and do the overview first, and then I will show you a video of me playing Lion with my usual commentary. So... surprise, surprise, today's hero is Lion. Lionize me. Lion is a pretty sweet hero. He's ranged hero. He is listed as a disabler, a nuker, lane support. He's a support. You can play him as a hard support. You can give him, if you give him some farm, he can be pretty scary too. If you give him things like a blink dagger or an Aghanim scepter. They actually just recently upgraded his Aghanim scepter ulti thing, which is pretty insane. But we're going to go over what Lion's skills are. So he's got 4 skills, no passive. Earth Spike, Hex, Mana Drain, and Finger of Death. His base stats start out at a pretty low amount of damage, slowish move speed. He's got 1 point of armor. His stat gains are not amazing, but he does get 3 int per level, which is pretty solid. He is, however, pretty frail. Something to keep in mind as you're playing him. He's going to cap out not at a super high amount of hit points either. I mean, at level 25, he's got 1,600 hit points, which isn't terrible, but around level 15, 16, when you might be getting towards endgame as a support, he's still less than 1,000 health, so you want to be careful. He can be kind of squishy. So, his abilities. Earth Spike. This is his Q, his first primary ability. It's a stun. You can target an enemy or a point on the ground, and it shoots out a burst of little... earth spikes that stun whoever's in the target, and that can be multiple people in the target as well. It's pretty cool. It deals damage, so it's a nuke in addition to being a stun. The duration increases with level, as does the mana cost, and the damage increases with level as well. It has a flat cooldown of 12 seconds. This is what it looks like. Now, sometimes if you have guys clumped around where that Sven was, for example, the Earth Spikes will actually grow out and catch everybody in the line. It's a bit wider of a line than you might at first expect. So you can, if people are clumped, if you can get a group of heroes that are clumped together, you can get multiple heroes at once. If their heroes are in a line, you'll hit everybody in the line. It's a pretty cool ability. It's a fast cast animation, too. So, it's one of those nice things where you can drop it early in a fight, pick up a couple of hero stuns, and it can kind of change things around. But it's not super close range, but it is somewhat close range, so that does bring you sort of within a scary distance of some of the enemy heroes. Something to keep in mind as you're playing him. Just gotta be careful. His next ability is Hex, which transforms an enemy unit into a frog, which is pretty awesome. It has a scaling mana cost that goes up with level. The duration also goes up with level, but the cooldown decreases down to 15 seconds, which is pretty nice. These two abilities, Earth Spike and Hex, both have durations between 12 and 15 seconds, as you can see, so you're probably only going to get them off once, maybe twice per fight. So be prepared to use them for ganks as well, or be very careful who you use them on in the fight, because you're probably only going to get them off once and you want to disable the right person. Hex is pretty entertaining, actually. Let's take a look at what it looks like. You're a frog! So yeah, it's got an instantaneous cast. So if you click it and click on somebody, boom, they're hexed. This is really, really nice. The range on it isn't bad as well. But you have to be a little bit close. Like, nothing super long range on Lion, as far as I can tell. But the instantaneous cast duration means, like, if somebody's about to escape and you're right at the edge of your range, like, boom, hex them, and then they get slowed down while they're hexed, and they can't use any of their abilities. They just kind of hop around like a frog for up to 4 seconds. It's a really nice disable. His third ability is Mana Drain. Mana Drain is a channeled ability, which means it lasts as long as you let it go. Up to its duration, which is 5 seconds. If somebody leaves the area, if you move, if you're stunned, anything like that happens, it breaks the channel. The break distance, as you can see, is 1200. It's got a pretty far range. Its mana cost is 10. Its cooldown goes from 20 seconds at level 1 to 5 seconds, which is pretty awesome. And what it does is it gives you mana per second. So it goes from 20 mana per second to 120 mana per second. Mana Drain is one of the reasons why Tranquil Boots are a pretty awesome item on a Lion. It's because with it, you can generally get your mana back pretty reliably without needing to get mana items. But it's not always easy to do. Enemy heroes are going to try to run away, and sometimes it's hard to catch them with the Mana Drain, or they might be attacking you, or any number of things where it's hard to use it. You can target enemy ranged creeps. And I believe certain neutral creeps as well will be subject to Mana Drain. I don't know 100% on that, but I know enemy ranged creeps you can target. And the nice thing about doing that is that gives you mana back in lane. That's a pretty good ability, but if your team isn't coordinating with you, or if they're like diving the ranged creep, or if it dies really fast, like sometimes you can start your Mana Drain and not get much out of it, and then it's on cooldown for forever. So things to keep in mind as playing him. I've seen Lions sitting in lane just mana draining. If you see a Lion sitting in lane and mana draining and they're somewhat close, you either A, run backwards and break it, or B, just charge them and hit the guy. He's frail. He's got like very little mana. And if he's mana draining you, now he might be baiting you. So that's the thing. Yeah, it's all about positioning. But generally as a Lion, you don't want to just be sitting in lane mana draining people unless it's a goofy sort of game, or you're fairly certain that you're pretty safe, because then it can be a fairly effective harass. If they don't have mana, they don't have anything, they can't do anything, they don't have any abilities. Last but not least, let's take a look at what that looks like. Boom, I'm sucking out his mana. There you go. The last ability, his ultimate, is called Finger of Death. Finger of Death is pretty ridiculous. You know what else is crazy about it? It's mana cost. It goes from 200 mana at level 1, or rank 1, to 650 mana. The cooldown, by the way, goes from 160 seconds to 40 seconds, which is just berserk. The damage scales from 600 to 850 damage. It's one of, I think, the highest single target damage spells in the game. And with Aghanim Scepter, the mana cost is reduced at the final level by a little bit. The Scepter cooldown is reduced by quite a bit. And the damage is increased up to 1,025 damage at rank 3. And it also bursts into 200 AoE. So if there's a couple of heroes clumped together, you can get like double or triple kills, depending. It's pretty, or even just set them up. It's an insane amount of damage. It's really good, but the mana cost is pretty high. So you have to be careful, because there's going to be more than one occasion where you're going to be like, I want to Finger of Death this guy, and then boom, you're like, I'm out of mana because I tried to set up stuns and hexes beforehand. And a lot of his mana, all of his abilities, with the exception of Mana Drain, obviously, cost a pretty sizable amount of mana. I mean, Hex is 200 at rank 4. It's 170 for Earth Spike at rank 4. This is a guy that can have some issues with mana if you're not being careful, even with Mana Drain. But let's take a look at what Finger of Death looks like. Boom! Look at that. Crazy. It's a really good nuke. So that is Lion's skill set. Like I said, he's very good at disabling. He's good in the lane. He's good in team fights. If you can set him up, he is frail, so you want to be careful. And we will talk more about items and things as we jump into the game. So we're going to go ahead and watch a game I played the other day as Lion. This is a recent game. We are going to watch the replay. Let's take a gander. And be sure to let me know in the comments section if you guys prefer this format or the other formats. I'm always curious. So, here we go. I'll pick. We're going to go ahead and skip ahead a little bit to about here. And then we can go ahead and... Alright, we are in game. Let's go ahead and go to player perspective. And I want to be on myself. So... Lion, you start off with like no health. You have 454 health. You are really, really frail. You have terrible base damage. You are not going to be doing much in the way of last hitting, or at least it's going to be kind of hard to do so. Our teams for this matchup. Bum-ba-da-bum. On the Radiant side, myself on the Lion. And then we have a Sand King, a Tuskar, or Tusk, a Sniper, and a Shadow Fiend. Our Tusk ended up coming top with me. The Shadow Fiend ended up going bot because Sniper wanted to mid. And Sand King went to help out the Shadow Fiend. On the enemy side, we have a Broodmother, a Phantom Lancer, a Bounty Hunter, a Crystal Maiden, and a Pudge. So that's kind of an obnoxious lineup, especially if the Phantom Lancer gets fed. Starting items. I believe I bought the Courier. Sand King bought a set of Observer Wards and is going to go place them right now. And I also started with a Tango, a Salve, and a Magic Stick. Now, if I'd been paying attention, more carefully. This is one of the reasons why it's good to pay attention to what your enemies are actually picking. I would have bought sentry wards immediately. As you can see, I was looking up as we were waiting for the game to start. I was like, oh crap, they've got like a brood mother and some other stuff. We're going to need sentry wards. So I put them in my queue as the first thing I'm going to buy when I have some money. But realistically, I probably should have started with those instead of the magic stick. Magic stick is nice and all, but having sentry wards to deal with the brood mother or the bounty hunter, depending on if one or both of them is in our lane, would be pretty nice. As you can see, I don't know why I'm standing here, actually. Must have gone to get something. So yeah, don't stand around, friends. So here we go. We are against a brood mother and a bounty hunter, which is why sentry wards would have been really good, because brood mother's just going to go invisible a bunch, and the bounty hunter will be able to go invisible as soon as he skills it. You can watch my brood mother game to learn a bit more about her. Bounty hunter, what you generally need to know is that he's got an ability that lets him go invisible and deal a lot of extra damage when he pops out of invisibility, so he can right click you down pretty hard if he gets a good drop on you. This brood mother was like playing really aggressive, which I was not used to. I'm used to them more being a bit more passive than she was. And I'm with a Tusk. Tusk is an interesting hero. He's got some gank potential. He's got some stuns. He's got his ice path, which can block guys in. He can debuff armor, but he's not like super strong in lane as near as I can tell. I usually see him played mid when he's played, or you can sometimes combo him. Like if you guys want a really fun Rombo combo for pubs, pair him with a Centaur Warrunner. And here's me, for some reason, deciding now is a good time to mana drain. Now, bear in mind, I was very low on mana, but I took a lot of right clicks there unnecessarily. However, this allowed us to get first blood. I had enough mana back that, the brood mother decided to go ham, and I was able to earth spike her, and then he snowballed in for the kill. So that worked out okay for us this time, but it was definitely risky, and we should have been probably a little more careful than we were. And now I'm once again really low on mana, but I do have sentry wards. Other reason you should go sentries first in these circumstances, you can't buy from the side shop, you can buy a magic stick from the side shop, and that was valuable courier time that could have been used mid, depending on what he needed to do if he was bottle crowing or otherwise, or just trying to get his bottle. We decided to send the Tusk in. Unfortunately, I was pretty slow. See, I was too slow. If I had dropped the sentry right when the Tusk was going in, he wouldn't have been able to go invisible and escape like that. Unfortunately, I didn't, and I placed it too close to tower. So, they're going to have vision of that ward. They know now for sure that we have wards, if they didn't already. I'm going to go ahead and try to mana drain, but as you can see, he very quickly was able to either walk away or just use invisibility to break it, so I didn't really get much out of it. And we are kind of far forward. At this point, the lane is pushed back towards their tower, which makes it dangerous for us. They've got a brood mother. Apparently, somebody's stupid. All right, there you go. And they have a bounty hunter up here, so they have good escape mechanisms for these two heroes. So it's going to be hard for us to do a whole lot. That being said, they are hanging back by tower, so we're still able to kind of get some hits in. And I decided that I would pull, which I think is actually a pretty decent idea. I had a tango, so I went ahead. I was a little late on this, unfortunately. If I had just sort of ate the tango and immediately walked away, I think I still would have drawn the aggro, or if I'd been a couple of seconds earlier. As it stands, I think we kind of got a range creep for a little bit, and I'm going to pull the next wave. But this is something you can do on the top lane here as Radiant. If you have a tango or something, or a quelling blade, which you probably wouldn't as a support, but if you have a tango, eat that tree, pull this camp into your lane, and then boom, the creeps will follow it, as is the standard case with pulling, and that will force their lane more towards your tower and out of their tower, which is a little safer for you. It does give them better access to the side shop, but I think overall it's worth it, depending on how you go about it. Now, unfortunately, Tusk decided to go in with the pull to try to get these camps instead of staying in lane, and so we're both going to die here. I managed to get the Hex off, but I'm trapped. There's all kinds of neutrals and stuff. If I had been smart, I might have tried to suicide myself on the neutrals. As it is, Bounty Hunter kills the Tusk, and I'm going to die. Although I think it takes them a little while. They chased me for a while, as I recall. They really want this kill, man. They are going ham. They are like, hey, Lion, you're going to die. And they're both chasing me. Well, there they go. And then she drops her spider webs there for some reason. I don't know why she did that. It's less spider webs up in our lane, but there you go. I'm going to buy more wards. I I need to get boots because I still don't have boots 5 minutes in. I believe the courier has been upgraded to a flying courier. Yes, it has at this point. I forget if I did that or not. But yes, as a lion, you know, you can be played as the 5 spot, which if you remember from my previous video, the 5 spot is the person with the lowest farm priority. Because most of your abilities don't... You're really dangerous even without items. What you want items for generally is to get a bigger mana pool. So let's talk about general item build. Right now, I'm buying support items. I have the magic stick because it's a good general all-purpose item. Do I drop? Yes, we dropped the sentry. Our sentry was still there. Unfortunately, we weren't able to go ham on the broodmother enough. I am able to get some... We are able to get a bunch of damage onto this guy. I drop another one of those. I'm going to mana... Yeah, I don't know why I decided to mana drain there. That was a bad decision. I should have just backed off because now we're going to feed them another couple of kills. And, oh, it was so close. They were both really low. If we'd played that a little safer, played a little farther back, we might have been able to get the kills or at the very least not die, thus feeding them and keep them farther away. Now let's take a look at our game stats. Where are we with hero levels? Right now the Sniper and the Pudge are max level, which is about what I would expect. Shadow Fiend is 6, Bounty Hunter and Brood are both Bounty Hunter 6, Brood is 5, and the two of us, the Tusk and the Lion, are sitting at 4. The PL, however, is also 4 along with the Crystal Maiden, which is good for us. You don't want him getting up there on level. And oh, here we go. We're going in again. And just barely enough. This guy's going to try and dive in on him. But I wasn't there. Now, if he'd waited for me to get back to lane before diving on the Bounty Hunter, we might have been able to hex stun or do something else in order to kill him. Right now, Bounty Hunter has hit 6 and is just, you know, got him tracked up, so we have to back off. Okie dokie, fine. In terms of last hits, we are dominating in last hits somehow. There you go. Sniper doing good. Our Sniper played really well this game. Better than we did early game, certainly. Which turned out to be good for us. So yeah, I've been feeding a little bit. I've been playing a little sloppy, a little too far forward. You want to play like a standard support. You know, don't go for last hits unless you think somebody else isn't going to get them, or you're setting it up for somebody. Try to play a little bit back. Look for options to harass the people in lane. All that good stuff. You know, try to get healing items if possible. You can grab things like a salve or tangos for your lane carry or whoever's in the lane with you. So that you can go ahead and help them sustain in the lane a little better because they should be taking more damage because they're close to the creep waves and all that stuff. They might be getting harassed by the enemy supports. But right now we're up against neither Broodmother nor Bounty Hunter is support really. And I believe neither of them is really playing support, but oh, there we go. Set up the stun and follow it up. You know, we have the roll ice path, roll in, set it up, and then I go ahead and finish it off with the earth spikes, and boom, we get a kill on the Broodmother. Right now, I'm still super poor, though. I need to buy sentries again, and I need to buy boots. Really desperately need to buy boots, in fact. I'm real slow. And it's 8 minutes into the game, so it's time. The Tusk has gone ahead and bought phase boots. I believe I buy boots now. Yes, and I have my sentries, which will deliver to me at some point when it's necessary. Tusk is coming back in through the jungle here. And we're going to go ahead and just kind of sit in the lane. I really shouldn't be sitting in lane. However, this allowed me to spot them doing a D-ward, but this gets really clusterfucky. Like, I managed to get him, but I wasn't auto-attacking for some reason. Then there's this weird ice path, but then he's able to get away, but then it's okay because I go ahead in with the Finger of Death, but then I'm taking a bunch of damage even after my thing, triggering my wand. And then we have this Broodmother who's got her ultimate form, so she's healing a ton every time she gets every time she hits. And then Tusk was unable to man fight, and we both kind of died, although we did get the Bounty Hunter. And now she's going to heal up, both on her webs and with the remainder of her ulti. So that was not a great engagement. For some reason, I wasn't really clicking on the enemy Bounty Hunter, which meant that we delayed his attack. They also were able to kill our ward, so we don't have a ward up there anymore, which is gold to them and gold from us. But we still killed the Bounty Hunter, and we're going to be able to come back up here, and our Sniper is rotated, and she doesn't have webs, so they're going to have to back off. At this point, I'm going for Tranquil Boots. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Tranquil Boots are a pretty solid item on Lion because you can use the armor. The regen is quite nice, and it's actually really nice. And since you can get mana back from creeps, you don't necessarily need to go for things like Arcane Boots. because you're getting your mana back from creeps. You can kind of, if you're smart with your mana drain, which I'm still trying to be smart with as I play Lion, you can get a lot of mana back pretty reliably. But now they've tracked me. We are going in, trying to get some last hits. Like I said, what I shouldn't do. Oh my god, they still have their sentry ward. Now they don't. Now we dive in on the Broodmother. There's a Walrus Punch. We're going to get a Hex. We're going to get some damage. Oh, so close. If that Ice Path had hit, that would have been a kill. But them's the breaks sometimes. We still managed to kill the Broodmother and force them back. This is good. They've rotated their Pudge up, who's sitting in our jungle, and we're trying to kind of keep an eye on things. Bounty Hunter's coming back, and I'm like, no, I'm going to charge at you. You're going to be scared. You got low health. I've got stuns. But yeah, I like Tranquil Boots. Like I said, it gives you the movement speed. It gives you a lot of regen. It gives you armor. And, you know, you're generally using abilities and not right-clicking, so it's not a big deal. It helps you stay in lane a lot longer. And if you can get it early, it gives you good lane presence. I've debated back and forth in my head maybe going Arcane Boots, especially after this game, only because you give up a lot by not going Tranquils. Like, you give up that armor and that HP regen, which is really nice. And the movement speed. But Arcane Boots helps out your lane buddy, as well as your team. Especially somebody like a Tusk who's using a lot of mana-dependent abilities and can run out of mana pretty fast. I'm busy trying to find items to buy, and I'm blocking the view for you guys, but there you go. So having Arcane Boots can be nice to kind of help out your lane, and it also increases your mana pool, which is nice because, as I've said, Lion has a lot of heavily mana-dependent abilities. I did not have my Sentry Ward, so unfortunately we're just going to be close to tower and not within ward range, so he's going to be able to escape. Once again, he's got us both tracked, and I'm spending too much time right-clicking and not enough time being smart. I have gone ahead and bought Dust, which I probably should have bought earlier. Dust, obviously really good against... Oh, that was so close. If we'd gotten another right-click or two down or been able to snowball him first, would have killed him there. But we have driven him out of lane, and that's important. Our lane's pushed in, we can get some damage on the tower, we're getting experience in free farm, which is good, and he is not, and he hasn't been securing kills. This is good, we're shutting down the Bounty Hunter. It also means he hasn't been roaming and ganking, which means our other lanes are safer, creating space, as it were. That's not exactly the technical use of creating space, but I think it sort of suffices. At this point, I'm sitting in lane, and I shouldn't be. I should probably be moving down to where some fights are. Once you hit level 6 as Lion, you can kind of roam around and gank and do other good stuff. We have a Broodmother who just got a kill on our Tusk who went ham. And we're going to go ahead and get this kill here because I'm going to Earth Spike and then boom, right click her down. Because we have Sentry Wards. Sentry Wards are really good, guys. You should buy Sentry Wards against invisible heroes. I also got Dust for the same reason. There are times where the fight moves beyond the range of your Sentry Wards, or you're chasing somebody, or you're trying to go for a gank. And I managed to, I got that ward down and just backed off just in time so Pudge didn't hook me because I would have died immediately. Like, there's no, you're not really coming back from that. If he gets the proper hook dismember off, you're just kind of like, well, I'm dead. We saw the Bounty Hunter coming. We now know where he is because we have vision. I fingered of death, but then I got pudged. So we were unable to get the kill because nobody followed up, but I wasn't pinging, which is why nobody followed up. But the Pudge died to the sniper. So there you go. He got a kill on me, but then our sniper got a kill on him. And boom, gets a kill on the Bounty Hunter because Assassinate is super awesome. And we were able, he had just enough vision to be able to drop Assassinate before the guy went invisible. And that still works even when the guy's invisible, which is pretty nice because not all abilities do that. Back to Dust. As I talked about in the game where I was playing against a Ricky, having the Dust is nice because if you're chasing, if you're ganking, if you're doing other stuff, oh my god, this Tusk is going ham up here. Just wants to fight, and not stop fighting. See, now I'm like, oh wait, there's a fight going on. I should probably pay attention to that. When Broodmother looks like that, by the way, you don't want to fight her. If you can avoid it, unless you've got disables, because she's just going to get a ton of life heal out of it, and she can hit pretty hard. Sniper is progressing nicely. He's already got a Maelstrom up. That might even be a Mjolnir, but I think it's a Maelstrom. Let's actually find out. Our Sniper has Maelstrom. Right, so he's got a Maelstrom up. Good for Sniper. I'm back here in mid lane supporting our Tusk. And at this point, I decide to go for a mech. Up, and we get a hook in on the Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend is a little too far forward. We throw the Ice Path. We're not able to move in there. We're all just kind of sitting around it. This happens a lot in pubs at my level. And you don't see it very often in games with higher level people or people who are better at the game than I am, but you don't want to just be all sitting mid and not doing anything. You want to be initiating or doing something. I managed to get that Hex off, but unfortunately, yeah, there wasn't an assassinate, but we were able to get that kill. Sniper's taking a ton of damage. I managed Earth Spike, but the Crystal Maiden gets the Frostbite off, and I'm going to die here to this Broodmother because she's dealing me a ton of damage. I somehow, I don't know, panic dusted, I guess, because there's nobody around here to take her down, but she will be unable to escape. Now, if the Sand King had had a little more mana, he might have been able to Burrow Strike and kill her, or just right-click her, because she should have still been visible. Oh, she was hiding in the trees. I was wondering about that. I remember thinking, like, God, why can't he just kill her? She was hiding in the trees, and he probably didn't have quite enough mana yet for a full Burrow Strike.
Technical difficulty.
Well, game is kind of clowny. They're currently leading 14-8 in kills. We haven't been playing super well, but our sniper is doing good. If we take a look at KDA, and look at that. Yep, I was watching our Tusk because I was dead. So I was like, let's keep an eye on things. I'm pretty sure I pinged that the Bounty Hunter was coming. KDA, so currently the highest number of kills is our Bounty Hunter with 5 kills and 2 deaths on the enemy team, I'm sorry. And our Sniper's got 3 and 2. So he's died just a little bit less than he is killed. Not that great, but he's not doing super great in last hits, but he's doing okay. Our Shadow Fiend, by the way, is doing really good in last hits. But if I remember correctly, has not gotten any kills and has died twice. So he is not super farmed.
Won't last much longer.
If we take a look, can't take a look at the Shadow Fiend because he's dead. So I'm back down here in bottom lane helping out the Tusk still because I'm not 100% sure what to do. And like I said earlier, when we're talking about the middle lane, you know, there's a tendency, and I understand it because I fall prey to it. All right, so he's going for a BKB. All right, that's what he's working on right now. There is a tendency to want to group up because you're like expecting a fight to happen. But if you have two sides just having heroes sitting around the middle of the map, you're not accomplishing anything. Like they might be getting a little bit because you're splitting your experience multiple places. You're not getting a lot of farm on probably your cores. Not a lot's happening. The Pudge nearly got that Sand King. Oh man, that was a good turnaround. Very lucky for us. That would have been a very dead Sand King. But we see the Pudge coming because we have a ward right there giving us vision of the river, which is good. I've got a sentry ward up there because I'm expecting a fight. And this is more, and now you can see similar thing happening. It's like we're all here, but we're all waiting. Now this isn't as bad because, all right, boom, there's a thing. We get another thing. There's a hex thing. Snowball. There was, I think, a hook shot, but it got canceled because we snowballed him. And then I followed up with a Hex and an Earth Spike, and then, you know, that's a dead Pudge. So they have to back off. Somebody killed the Broodmother. I think it was our sniper, must have been. And now they got 2 heroes dead, so we're going to start pressuring this bottom tower. This was a good time for us all to kind of group up and wait for an initiation. In middle lane, we were all just sort of sitting there, and nobody wanted to initiate, and it was dangerous anyway because they had high ground advantage. If we had tried to bait them back, that might have been good. But at a certain point, you just sort of leave one hero there, or you just break off and kind of come back. And you can kind of hang back and go towards the jungle camps and see if they decide to come in and push your lane. Then you can go back in and try to fight them when you have the high ground and tower advantage. Otherwise, you just go and farm because they're going to back off too. Or you let the tower go and you go push some other tower and trade. You know, these are things that you can do that are better than just sort of sitting there and not getting much experience or gold while the enemy team, especially with somebody like a Pudge, is in a prime position to hook you, especially if you go a little bit too far down into the river where they have vision and you do not. So I go ahead and move top lane to push that back a little bit because Earth Spike is actually pretty good at killing or at least pushing waves because you can get some damage down. Broodmother's killing our Tusk, who decided to go ham again. We have 2 heroes going on. Like you can see over here, our Sand King is running in. The Crystal Maiden comes down. Our Shadow Fiend is trying to right-click the Broodmother, and they're just both going to die. It's a bad time. It's a bad time. They probably shouldn't have got in on that, especially without vision, because they don't have dust. I'm the one with the sentry wards as well. That ward was just about to die, too, so I don't get the money from it. But we now have vision down here, so we can see the Broodmother. I do not have any mana. I mean, 420 mana to cast this. It is an insane amount of mana. Which is why I can't cast it. And this is one of the things, so I ended up going mech this game because I figured, hey, I'm a support, I can carry a mech. Mech's a good item. It'll help the team out. These are all true things. But my mana pool is so limited, 676 mana isn't a little bit of mana, but when one of your abilities is two-thirds of your mana pool, and it's the one you definitely want to be using every time you can because it's such a crazy amount of damage that it makes it way easier for your friends to initiate. That's a dead Sand King, by the way. Well, it might have been better for me to go Force Staff first, for example, as opposed to the mech. Because if you're really low on mana all the time because your abilities are really expensive, and then you're carrying the mech, you might not have mana for mech. You're not going to have mana for one of them, is basically what I'm getting at. So it's risky to go for this. And that's why you like to have mana available for Finger of Death, everybody. He throws the Ice Path, goes in there for the stun. I think he tried a Wallace Punch, so I might have been a little premature because he probably could have killed her himself with his ult. But I was like, no, we're getting a kill on this Crystal Maiden. She's super weak. That's how we're going to do it. At this point, I think we were asking to see if anybody could defend this. We went ahead and glyphed, but we weren't able to get anybody to TP in. But we do have people coming up to potentially fight. But our Tusk is in the river without a lot of backup, so he should probably back off. I'm going to try and get some mana back on some creeps. In terms of my skill build, as you can see, I've maxed my Q and my W, so Earth Spike and Hex, and my Finger of Death, and then I start putting points into Mana Drain. It might not be a bad idea, thinking about it, to try a build where you go Earth Spike, because you want Earth Spike, it's really good, the stun duration is really nice. Max Earth Spike, get a point Hex, point in Mana Drain, then max Mana, then get Finger, then max Mana Drain, and then go back and max Hex, because that will allow you to get your mana back faster, which will compensate for the fact that you have a low mana pool, especially if you go Tranquil Boots. Things to think about. So I'm getting, as you can see, even at level 1, if you can get a full 5-second channel off, it's a decent amount of mana. So you can imagine if you have that thing leveled up, it gets pretty silly. We have taken this tower. Their whole team is here, and our Sand King was a little too slow and decided to run there instead of running away. If he had gotten a TP scroll and TP'd out, I think he tries to. Yep, but they managed to, hook him and he dies. Unfortunately, that was nearly a good juke, but these things happen. Their whole team came up there. And thankfully, we only lost one person instead of trying to fight and losing a bunch of us. Because right now, we're still trailing by 8 kills. And if we take a look at the gold graph, the Radiant side, actually, we are leading in gold somehow, but they are leading in experience. So, and we're not leading by a lot either direction. So it's one of those things where it's like, it was a risky fight to take, especially with a few of us and us being out of position. But what it did allow us to do is go back, heal up, and then hang out and start defending our tower, which is much safer. Because we have vision, for example, from the tower. In comes the Broodmother, deciding to go ham. Okay, fine, so here's a Walrus Punch, and then boom, she's dead. And then we hex this guy down, and I think it's going to be boom. Another dead person. I managed to Earth Spike them so they get stunned, and there's the dead Crystal Maiden. Pudge is running around up here looking to maybe get a hook or something. I forget if he comes back. No, I think he just runs away. But we've defended. We've gotten 2 kills for nil. We push the wave back, and then we start rotating mid to go deal with the mid tower. At this point, we're starting to play a little more synergistically, and our sniper's gotten really scary because he's got enough levels and a decent enough amount of farm that he's hitting decently hard, but he's also got tons of headshot. His range is enormous, and with a full Mjolnir, yeah, he's pretty frightening. So, maybe I'll do a sniper game at some point. I'm still working on the mech. I'm actually somewhat close to it. One of the other tricks, about getting the mech, is that you're only gonna be able to carry 1 or 2 of those things because you need wards. I was trying to carry dust as well as wards, and that's like item slots, and you need a TP scroll. You don't have a ton of item slots when you're playing support, so you want to be pretty careful about what you're doing. And a Force Staff I think might have been better than the mech in this case. But mech is still good. I mean, it helps you push, it helps you sustain in team fights. It's definitely a really good item. You just have to be careful because it does cost a decent amount of mana. But oh my god, here's a Pudge going after our sniper, trying to get that slow. There's a Dismember. Oh boy. But in comes Sand King. Sniper gets a kill. Then they're going to clean up these camps. And then, oh my god, more kills. The Tusk dies, but we go ahead and get a kill on the Bounty Hunter before he's able to get any track gold off us, and we decide to chase this Crystal Maiden. At this point, they're starting to try to go for ganks that aren't terribly effective. Now, our Tusk is having a rough game. He is definitely having a rough game. As you can see, he is currently 3-7-7 to my 4-5-5, so I've definitely died quite a lot too. I'm not trying to say that, I was playing better than him, but he was having a tough game. And I've had the same experience as Tuskar, where you go in, you're like, I want to go in and make plays happen, I want to get ganks, I want to initiate. But if your team isn't ready for it, you're just going to run in and die. So you got to be careful. Same thing is true with a Lion. Like if you go Blink Dagger Lion and then go ahead and like Blink Hex to initiate and follow it up with an Earth Spike or something, if there's nobody else there and you don't have enough mana to do your full combo of like Hex, Earth Spike, Finger of Death, and a couple of right clicks to like kill somebody weak like a support, then they're just going to turn on you, and it's going to get scary real fast, especially if it takes you a long time, because then they can rotate their other guys in, and you're going to just be vulnerable, because again, I'm level 13, and I've got 900 health, and a big part of that is because I've got some extra stuff giving me. I've got like the 5 extra strength from some of my items. The Mekanism, in point of fact. Giving me a bit more than your average bear in terms of hit points, but I'm still pretty frail. I'm still sub 1,000 hit points. All right, Blink Dagger's up on our Sand King. And now we're just kind of like, well, all right, let's push the lanes out. Let's be a little more cautious and try to group together a little more. Here comes a bunch of Spiderlings. Here comes our Sand King, low on mana. Does our Sand King have? And our Sand King went Brown Boots straight to Blink Dagger instead of picking up the Arcanes first. Somewhat questionable, but Blink Dagger is really good on Sand King. You know, if you can Blink Initiate with Epicenter or Burrow Strike or something, it's really legit. So I can understand going for the Blink Dagger. Up, and the Pudge wrapped around and catches out the Tusk. As you can see, my camera work. I should have been more paying attention to this fight over here instead of looking where my character is. This is something that is really important to work on too, and something I've been trying to help out with. There was a double stun, which is a little bit overkill, but it is going to give us the kill. Here's a Bounty Hunter. Oh my god, the Bounty Hunter is going ham. I don't have any... oh man, Broodmother killed the Sand King. I managed to get a double stun though. We don't have vision on the high ground. I dusted for some reason. We still don't have vision. I think... Yep, Assassinate kill on the Phantom Lancer. We had just enough vision for him to get the Assassinate ability off. Like I said, Sniper is playing really good this game. And I'm like, I'm going to go for the Broodmother. But I'm like, I don't have any mana, so I shouldn't go for the Broodmother. Because what the hell am I going to do? And I'm slow. Yay! So yeah. Camera placement. Camera placement is important. You want to be watching fights. You want to be watching where your teammates are as much as where you are. You want to be watching where the enemy is. You know, if you're running to a fight, there's no real point in watching the map as long as you have a generally clear, you know, path. Or watching like where your character is. You can keep an eye on the mini-map and then move your camera where the fight is so you know where to initiate from, where to come in, or if you should come in at all, or if you should run away. Because sometimes you need to run away. Like, you're like, oh, I'm going to go help with the team fight. And your team like dies immediately and you're like, well, I probably shouldn't help out the team fight because I'm just going to feed them another kill. So you can back off. And if you're watching the team fight, then you'll know that. But if you just sort of are watching your character as you run in, you know, you don't have that valuable information. I get hooked. That was a nice hook from him. I'm going to die here. But they all get, yeah, they get iced in. Bunch of damage coming out. Crystal Maiden dies. Bounty Hunter dies. Epicenter deal some damage, and then we're going to get a tower out of it. So my sacrifice was worth it. And then here comes the Broodmother. Unfortunately, nobody else has dust, and I wasn't able to get a ward that far forward, so she's going to escape on her webbing. Really frustrating. A gem would have been a good thing to get this game too, considering how they have 2 invis heroes. But, you know, you can't always afford it. And unfortunately, she was, yeah, like just at the outside edge of the ward vision there when they went in on her. And if he'd been a little quicker with that, he might have gotten her too. But as it stands, the Assassinate will finish her off anyway. So all is well. That was a good rotation from the Sand King. And I'm still dead for a million years, so I'm just kind of hanging out. So my mech is completed. Now I'm like, I'm going to go Force Staff because I can use Force Staff serves a similar function to Blink in that it can be good for positioning. But it's got more utility because you can use it on allies. So you can force yourself into position, or you can force yourself away if you need to run. You can force allies or enemies in or out of position depending if you're really good with it, which I am not. But it's one of the things you can do because you can use it on anybody. And it's good. It's combo. I decided to go bottom, and I probably shouldn't have because the team is sitting there. But I figured, well, their whole team's back up. We should probably back off, maybe push in another lane. Because they're just going to come in and counter initiate on us, you know, counter in on us. And I probably should have stayed with the team, to be honest. Like, me running bottom didn't really do anything, didn't really serve much of a purpose. I'm going to get maybe 1 wave worth of experience and waste a lot of time and get some mana back, I guess, from the ability I just used, as opposed to helping out the team or moving with them. But yeah, if I got a 4-staff first, the nice thing is you get that, you get the Staff of Wizardry, which gives you 10 intelligence, which boosts your mana pool, which is something, as I've talked about, you kind of want more mana, and you have some good utility out of it. It'll help you with, and then you can go for a mech, for example. In any event. Plus, it's cheaper. It's cheaper than a Mekanism. Where are we now? We're running to lane. Like I said, I'm kind of watching my character instead of watching where my friends are, where the enemies are. But it's okay. Sometimes you're just kind of taking a look around, keeping an eye on the game. We are starting to close that kill gap, as you can see. Starting to take fights, which is good. I'm getting towards my 4-staff. I've got Dust, and I have Sentry Wards, so we are ready to move back in and fight. And our Sand King has been placing Observer Wards. It's really nice when you have somebody... Oh, boy. Sniper gets caught, but Sniper bought himself a Shadow Blade, so he's able to go invisible and escape, and they weren't expecting that, so they don't have detection on the Pudge or something to catch him out. Depending on who you're playing against, that trick will work once or maybe a couple times, or if you're playing against people like I tend to play against... a lot of times. Phantom Lancer has got a million illusions coming out of the jungle towards us. Oh, I'm sorry. That wasn't Phantom Lancer. That was the Broodmother with a million Spiderlings who are all just going to die to a raise. So, yeah. Shadow Fiend, good Broodmother counter because you're like, oh, here's a bunch of Spiderlings. Souls! Also, I should mention, just because I'm reminded at this point, Lion has, like, some of my favorite voice stuff in the game. He's hilarious. I've been to hell and back to hell and back.
No breaking down the radiant
come on,
structures
it's
like
classic.
this.
All right, so Phantom Lancer is pushing our bottom lane, and we're like, well, we could all kind of stand around with our dicks in our hands, or we could counter push and try to take their racks. Unfortunately, my team is broken off, and then we send some people back to break away. So we're not going to get a racks out of this, but we do defend our T3 because the Phantom Lancer. Oh, I just dodged that hook. Good lord. Our Phantom Lancer right now, or their Phantom Lancer, I should say, has not a lot. We got Vlad's. A couple blades of alacrity. That's going for his diffusal blade. At 31 minutes, that's not good for a PL. Oh well. Good for us, though. So we drop a couple of wards. We can see the Bounty Hunter. I'm like, oh, I should run away. There's a hasted Phantom Lancer. There's a Bounty Hunter. I should just get GTFO. I'm going to hang out and run around and go meet up with my team. So here we go.
Guess that's 10 in a row.
The Broodmother, I guess, decided that she wanted to man-fight a sniper, which is not a good idea when the sniper's got farm, which, as you can see, ours does. He is now Mjolnir, Deso, Shadowblade, and Treads on the sniper. He's gotten some farm. He's gotten some kills. Didn't know that Bounty Hunter was there, which is unfortunate. Like I said, Gem would have been a good thing to carry, but I was pretty frail and died a lot. So it's, you don't want to be carrying gems if you're going to die a lot. I was like, oh, I'm going to go help the sniper. Sniper, I've got you, buddy.
Guess what's happening to
I'm going to dust. But the Bounty Hunter was like long gone. He must have TP'd out. Or where the hell did he go? That's weird. I don't know where he went.
Best do something about
oh, he was hiding back there.
Can't do nothing about
still ghost walk. Look at that. Yeah, he's hiding back in those trees. There you go. So we ran past him, and then he waited for us to get far enough past, and then bounced. Ghost walked again. Ghost walked again. Pardon me. And that was pretty legit. So we're going to push into mid lane. And you kind of get a sense, you're getting a sense, I think, of how the line is played. You want to be using, you can initiate if you're close enough to get in with your Earth Spikes or with Hex. Kind of grab a hero. If your team jumps on that hero, they're probably going to die pretty fast because the disables are pretty long, especially if you have some decent damage dealers on your team. And then try to stay a little bit back because you're frail. Use Finger of Death when appropriate to just murder people. Here's a Pudge. Here's a sniper going ahead and using his Shadow Blade trick again because they still don't have detection to run away. Now, thankfully, for him, the T3 was down already, so they don't have any detection there. Pudge is going to go ahead and try to get another hook. He's throwing good hooks, but we're juking back. I would say deliberately, but I think that would be a lie. And then there's a dead Phantom Lancer. I don't know why he was running there. That was close. I Fingered of Death on the Bounty Hunter, which dealt a ton of damage, but the Burrow Strike was just a little bit too late to catch the stun, and we didn't have extra dust or something to get him with. Crystal Maiden's dropping her thing, kills a sniper, kills a Shadow Fiend, but we're going to go ahead and come in on that sniper, and boom, boom, get ourselves a kill. There you go. I mana drained him for some reason. because I didn't have any mana to use any of my abilities is why. And now we have I have a 4-staff, and we've killed their entire team even though our 2 carries died. So we're going to try and racks. Generally want to go for melee racks first, but all of our creeps went for the range racks, so I was like, well, might as well get that down even faster because PL's back up in 8 seconds. And I was like, oh my god, there's a courier! Oh my god, I'm going to go for the courier, but I'm so slow, I'm a lion. Oh my god, I'm so slow. I should have just stayed and right-clicked the barracks. Oh my god. And you're going to watch, I'm gonna walk back up and we're going to see the courier come right back past me. Yep. If I'd gone back earlier, I could have done more damage to the barracks, or if I'd stayed a little longer, I might have been able to get some clicks on the courier, but I definitely couldn't have killed it. I don't have enough right-click damage for that. At this point, we should back off. Pizza Steve was not happy with his team, apparently. I somehow picked up somebody's Ironwood branch and then put it back down. I guess Pudge wasn't to their satisfaction. I don't know. Who cares? I got my 4-staff flying out to me. Or it should be somewhat soon. Or I might just go back to base. I forget. I think I went back to base. Got myself a TP scroll. And this is one of the tricky things where it's like, alright, now it's like I'm going to need to trade something out. Because I need to carry a TP scroll. I should be carrying Dust and a Sentry Ward. But I also want to be carrying... I think I gave my wand back, right? Yeah. Give him the magic stick back. I never actually made it into a wand. And then I get my 4-staff, and I'm still really slow about trading things out on a courier. It's something that's good to get good at, is being able to swap items fast and manipulate the courier quickly, because it allows you to kind of be more efficient and get back to the fights faster. As I said before as well, or started to say, it's been really nice having the Sand King buying Observer Wards, because that's giving us vision while I'm giving us detection, and it's keeping both of us from being in the poorhouse, allowing us to progress some items. For example, he now has Arcane Boots, and is going for a Veil of Discord, I believe. Possibly. I'm not sure with the Helm of Iron Will what he's going for. I was thinking a Veil possibly, but it might be something else entirely. I forget if you need a Veil or a Helm for a Veil. But Pudge looks like got himself a pipe. Good for Pudge. We actually don't have that much magic damage. We have a decent amount of magic damage, but the really scary thing right now isn't the magic damage. It's the right-click damage from the Shadow Fiend and the Sniper. They were like, well, I guess we could Roshan. And I'm like, I guess? I'm always leery about Roshaning with pubs because, especially if you don't have a lot of minus armor. But I forgot the fact that we have tons of minus armor because we have a Shadow Fiend and a Desolator on a Sniper. So he went down really fast. I tend to be leery about it because I've had a lot of bad experiences and make me gun shy where we go Roshan and then the enemy team shows up and kills us all. And here we had an Ice Path into a snowball that unfortunately didn't connect because he was able to run away. Tuskar really might have wanted to buy himself a gem this game instead of a Battle Fury. I don't know why he bought himself a Battle Fury as opposed to something like a Shadow Blade or a Blink or a gem or a straight BKB or almost anything. I don't know. I mean, Battle Fury is a good item if you want to farm, but anyway. Alright, here we go. Sand King is getting harassed by the Bounty Hunter. I'm like, I should go help the Sand King. Oh my god, but it's too late. I'm like, I should run away, but I force-staff myself towards him. Oh my god, run! And the Bounty Hunter tried to get a kill on our courier, and I was like, oh my god. I need a dust. Dust nothing. Be careful with your dust, friends. This game is kind of a good example of things not to do as well as things to do. And the fact that if you're playing somewhat smart, and you give some space to your teammates, you can still do okay. The other reason I wanted to post games like this is like we were not doing well in the early game, especially in my lane, but we didn't give up, and we're gonna turn around. As we've turned this game around, and we're doing pretty good. So I dropped this Sentry Ward here to give us some vision. I probably should have dropped it farther forward onto the webs. I've currently been tracked. Oh my god, there's a Bounty Hunter behind this. I should have been paying attention to that, but it's alright because Sniper's like, okay bro, I'm super farmed. I'm just going to kill you. And then our Tuskar's like, they're in the woods! So we charge into the woods. He initiates it on the Pudge. I run around and try to initiate it on the Pudge. The Phantom Lancer, well, ran away. He had invisibility somehow. I forget if Phantom Lancers just get invisibility. I think they must. In any event, because he ran away from us while invisible. But here comes a Broodmother, like, hey, we're gonna, she's gonna die. So she got caught out. We snipe her down, and our bottom lane is pushed in a bunch. So we're gonna go in here and try to finish that off. I am out of detection though, so this is risky. But a bunch of their heroes, including their invis heroes, are dead. So not that risky.
Dire
And as you can see, we're basically going to win
top
the game.
tower.
I don't think there's anything majorly
Dire's
cool that
bottom
happens, so
tower
I'm going
got
to speed this
blown
up a little
to
bit. 2 times, we can
Dire's
kind of
top
finish it out.
tower's getting beat
We
down.
racks them
Farm
here.
farewell to the
We're going to go ahead and
Dire's
rotate
mine
top, I
rack.
think. I was like,
Dire's
let's rotate
mid
top, and I was like,
towers
oh, I
getting
guess we don't really need
difficulties.
to. Why bother? Their whole team is still dead. And then here comes here comes the bounty hunter. And then, oh my god, there's fighting, and oh my god, their whole team dies again, oh my god, and then it's GG.
Dire might want to mind
Oh,
that the
we're
Dire
gonna throw
weren't
them.
partial to that mid tower.
And
Dire's ancient
just get some
getting
damage. I'm like, I'm gonna get some mana back, because I can. I got enough for my 650 mana cost, Finger of Death.
trouble brewing.
And
The rain
boom,
done it.
there is a lion game. So, bad early game, but we come back and actually end up leading set by 7 kills and take them out. Pretty commanding victory. I think overall, a big part of that was the fact that our sniper was able to get some farm, which was due in part to me getting some core items, not getting some core items up, but being in position to help secure some kills, disabling and stunning some of the enemy heroes, good things like that. So that's going to wrap up the Lion game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, if you like this format more than the other format I usually use for my videos, please let me know. As always, I'm going to go ahead and have to do this because my Dota's been acting up. As always, follow me on Twitter. I'm at Captain Jandor. Follow me on Twitch TV. I am at Captain or Twitter or twitch.tv/Captain Jandor. You can follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/Jandor1. Go ahead and subscribe and let me know how you think. And as always, good luck on your next game. Take it easy.